Hello everybody, welcome back to another video in the series on tension and transitions for Psytrance. Today we're going to be looking into fills. So here I have a project. I just quickly want to play this little fill here so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm going to be talking about. We're going to be deconstructing it, looking at all of the elements and just generally seeing what makes it work. So you can hear in this first section, there isn't really a main lead. There's a whole bunch of different small elements that together kind of create the sequence for the drop. And then there's obviously all of the individual one-shots that you can see in here, which also contribute to all of the things happening in the drop. But there isn't one main element that is kind of like rising up here, increasing the energy level of the track, going into this part of the fill. We do hear that we have a main element in here though. It's that rhythmical kind of comb filtery kind of synth. So this is the synth that we want to transition into. This is the synth that we want to introduce exactly at this point in time right here. Now there's two ways that you can go about it. In this case, I decided to introduce it earlier, as you can see from the MIDI clip here. The idea behind that is that you're preparing the listener for what is about to come. One of the things that you'll see though with this is that the main modulation determining the tone is going down before this point and then going up again after this point. The reason for that is because we also need to transition out of this part. And the way that I'm doing that is with this element right here, which has some kind of tape stop effect on it. So when we play these two together, you'll hear that we have this effect going out and then this sound coming in. We're essentially using this little space here, this little fill space here, to transition from one sound into the next, even though this sound still continues to play. Now before we continue, I do want to say if you want to support the channel, make sure that you're liking the video and that you're subscribed. Also, if you want to support me financially, you can do so by looking at my products on Gumroad or by checking out my Patreon page. Now obviously there's a lot more elements in this fill, but really the fill centers around this idea here, that we're going from one element into another element. And this is going to be probably true for most of your fills that you're going to be doing. In this case, I'm not talking about the little kick fills that you might have in these parts of the track, you know, where you just have a few kicks to keep things interesting. I'm really talking about the fills where you want to switch from one element to the next. One of the things that is important for that kind of switch to be able to be done is that you have enough space. That's the reason why I completely leave out the kick and bass in all of these fills. I really don't like it for my fills if the kick and bass just kind of continues or people filter it out up until this point right here. That just sounds really off to me because there isn't actually any space for that transition to happen. Now obviously we have a lot of cool drum stuff that I want to talk about, so let's have a listen to all of the drums here. What you'll hear in these drums is that they're used to kind of bring back the energy. Obviously there's a lot of energy loss that happens because all of our elements stop playing here. We want to bring that back for when this impact right here hits. There's also other elements that help with that. I recently published a short on this sound here, and this is just kind of like a simple rising sound. The other sound that sits in here is actually used to transition up to this point here. One of the things that I think a lot of people forget about their fills is the fact that they need to be announced as well. Even though a fill is an announcement of a change coming up, we tend to also announce the announcement of the change coming up, in a sense. We tend to announce the fact that the fill is about to happen. In this case, there's two elements that are being used. We have this noise riser. And you can hear it stops right here, and then it just kind of fades out over these last two bars here. The other element is this kind of rising sound. The way that I made this is an ARP with a tape stop effect. I recorded that and then I reversed it, so you get this kind of speeding up, pitching up kind of effect. So those two sounds combine and they give us the idea that something is about to come up here. We can hear that this rising effect is coming in, so something must be happening. Then we hear that we're pausing and we're mainly going down for this part here until the drums come in and they bring the energy back up. If we draw that out in terms of energy level here, I will quickly turn this off so that it doesn't affect the actual sound. We would say that something like this is happening And then obviously here we're also going up in energy. So this is announcing that the fill is about to happen. The fill starts to play, it drops down in energy, preparing the listener for the new elements. The new element is slowly coming in here. And in doing so, together with the drums, the energy level towards the end of the fill is increased again. Now, this is a rather long fill. This is a fill of 2 bars. This is the longest fills that I like to use. My normal fill length is actually 1 bar, but the principles are still the same. In this case, you can hear the main synth rising up until this point. We have a bunch of other effects here as well. We have these crashes here, which add to it as well. We have 1 crash and then 2 crashes within the bar. This is kind of announcing that something is happening, almost like a build-up. And then again, you could hear in the fill, we're lowering the energy level and then we're rising it up again for the next element to play. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about in terms of fills. What I finally do want to say though is that you should experiment a lot with the fills. What I've personally found is that when you have a 16 bar section, the first 15 bars take me roughly the same amount of time as the last bar to actually get right. And that is something that I've been rigorously trying in this project, to just focus that much on the fills and to see if that ups the level of my productions. And so far I've concluded that for this project it definitely does. So that's going to be the video. If you liked it, let me know by leaving a like, and if you're new here, make sure that you're subscribed. But that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.